Radha-madhava Kunja-vihari Radha-madhava Kunja-vihari Janavalapa Girivardhari Gopijanavalapa Girivardhari Yashodanandana Prajananjana Yashodanandana Prajananjana Yamuna Tira Kantaraj srimadbhagavatam ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So, we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, entitled Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 11. Swayambhuva Manu advises Dhruva Maharaj, on text 13. You don't have a verse on the board, so... You have the verse there? Go ahead.
It's loading right
now. Okay.
What verse is it? Not smart?
It's 4, 11, 13.
13. Okay. Ramapri, what about you?
Tatikshaya karunaya Maitra chakila jantushu Samatpena chasarvatma Bhagavan samprasidati Tatikshaya karunaya Maitra cha kila jantushu
Maitya cha kila jantushu
Samadvena cha sarvatma
Samadvena cha sarvatma
Bhagavan samsprasidati
Bhagavan samprasidati
Tikshaya karunaya
Tikshaya karunaya
Maitra cha kila jantushu
Maitya cha kila jantushu
Samadvena cha sarvatma
Samadvena cha sarvatma
Bhagavan samsprasidati
Bhagavan samprasidati Tikshaya karunaya
Tikshaya karunaya
Maitya cha kila jantushu
Maitraya chakila jantushu
Samadvena cha sarvatma
Samadvena cha sarvatma
Bhagavan samprasidati
Bhagavan samprasidati Tidikshaya karunaya
Tikshaya karunaya
Maitraya chakila jantushu
Maitya cha kila jantushu
Samadvena cha sarvatma
Samadvena cha sarvatma
Bhagavan samprasidati
Bhagavan samprasidati.
You want to do it, Glenn?
I'm still trying to get the lyrics.
Or are you still trying to get that? Okay. You want to do it, Joe?
Yeah,
You try?
I'll try. I don't know if I'll be able to.
we'll just hold it tight.
I mean, if you want, you could do it.
You can do it. Tikshaya.
Maybe I should try another time. This, yeah, I don't know.
If you don't feel that's okay.
Thank you.
All right. All right, so word by word translation. Titikshaya,
Tikshaya
by tolerance.
by tolerance.
Karunaya,
Karunaya
by mercy.
by mercy.
Maitra,
Maitya
by friendship.
by friendship.
Cha,
Cha
also.
also.
Akila,
Akila
universal.
universe.
Jantushu,
Jantushu
unto the living entities.
unto the living entities.
Samitvena,
Samadvena
by equilibrium.
by equilibrium.
Cha,
Cha
also.
also.
Sarva Atma,
Sarva Atma
the super soul.
the super soul.
Bhagavan,
Bhagavan
the personality of Godhead.
personality of Godhead.
Samprasidati,
Samprasidati
becomes very satisfied.
becomes very satisfied.
Translation. The Lord is very satisfied with his devotee when the devotee greets other people with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. Purport. It is the duty of an advanced devotee in the second stage of devotional perfection to act in accordance with this verse. There are three stages of devotional life. In the lowest stage, a devotee is simply concerned with the deity in the temple, and he worships the Lord with great devotion according to rules and regulations. In the second stage, the devotee is cognizant of his relationship with the Lord, his relationship with fellow devotees, his relationship with persons who are innocent, and his relationship with persons who are envious. Sometimes devotees are ill-treated by envious persons. It is advised that an advanced devotee should be tolerant. He should show complete mercy to persons who are ignorant or innocent. A preacher devotee is meant to show mercy to innocent persons, whom he can elevate to devotional service. Everyone by constitutional position is an eternal servant of God. Therefore, a devotee's business is to awaken everyone's Krishna consciousness. That is his mercy. As for a devotee's treatment of other devotees who are his equals, he should maintain friendship with them. His general view should be to see every living entity as part of the Supreme Lord. Different living entities appear in different forms or dress, but according to the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita, a learned person sees all living entities equally. Such treatment by the devotee is very much appreciated by the Supreme Lord. It is said, therefore, that a saintly person is always tolerant and merciful. He is a friend to everyone, never an enemy to anyone, and he is peaceful. These are some of the good qualities of a devotee. Shri Gurundini Taranam Vancha Kapadripashcha Kripa Sindhubi Vicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Alright, so I'll read the translation again. The Lord is very satisfied with his devotee when the devotee greets other people with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. So, yeah, maybe you could fill this up, please. Thank you. I was going to do it before, but I forgot. If you want to use you could use that out there too if you want. It's closer. So, fixed, huh? So interesting, Prabhupada, he says that there's different stages of devotional perfection. Because sometimes we think of perfection as like the ultimate goal, the highest goal, whatever that may be to different people, but within Krishna consciousness the highest goal is to be completely absorbed in love for Krishna or service to Krishna. Thank you. But Prabhupada says that here that in the second stage of devotional perfection to act in accordance with this verse. So he says that even somebody who's not on the highest level is in a stage of devotional perfection. Which you could say that's kind of encouraging. I mean, it is encouraging. For those of us who may not, for people who may not be on that highest level, it's very encouraging. It's encouraging to me. And Prabhupada gave the example of a mango. So mango, there's the ripe mango, right? Like in Philippines, right? They have good mangoes. You went to Philippines before, right? You had some mangoes there? Yeah, I'm sure you have to have mangoes when you go to the Philippines.
Yeah.
If you don't, it's one of the reasons to go to the Philippines, right? Have mangoes. So there's a ripe mango, and you could tell it has a certain aroma, right? A nice, pleasant aroma, and it's soft. And when you cut it open, it's juicy, and there's some taste there. It actually tastes. Sometimes you get mangoes and there's just no taste. It's like you might as well just, I don't know, chew on a leaf or something. It's just nothing, practically. So ripe mango, but there's a stage of a mango when the mango is unripe. Namely, there's not much aroma, the skin is green, and the mango is hard. It's firm, so it's unripe. But still, even though it's unripe, you can still do something with it. Of course, some people may not know how to use unripe mango, but there's a way to use an unripe mango. What you do is you peel it, you cut it up into small pieces, and you make a chutney, or almost like a jam out of it, using certain spices. You cook it, and it's still pleasant, like the unripe mango. So in other words, there's a unripe mango, and then there's a ripe mango, and the only difference, what is the difference between them? One of the differences between an unripe mango and a mango, besides the points I just brought up. Time, yeah. So in a matter of time, if you just let the mango, just put it there, let it sit there, over time it will become ripe if you don't use it when it's unripe. So Prabhupada gave that example that the mango, the stage of the mango being completely ripe is like the stage of spiritual perfection, spiritual realization, enlightenment. And the unripe mango is the beginning stage. It's the beginning stage. So the idea is we just let the mango ripen naturally. So, and then we could and then it, you could say, fully matures. So Prabhupada's talking about the second stage of devotional perfection, which the second stage is characterized by what's stated in this verse, or in the purport, that should show mercy to persons who are ignorant or innocent, and should make friends with the devotees, and should give all of one's love to or service to Krishna, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it says to avoid envious people. So envious people are, it says, there's a saying, I don't know if it's Bengali saying or some saying from India, it says that what's more dangerous, a snake or an envious person who's also like a snake?
Envious person.
Envious person's more dangerous. And why is that? Because a snake, an ordinary snake, you could attain. I mean, you could tame by certain herbs, right? Or mantras you chant, like you see those, whatever, on the movies, or maybe you saw in real life, the guy's playing the flute or something, and then the snake, the cobra's there, right?
I've seen it.
Yeah, you've seen it. Cobra, it's being tamed by the sound, or whatever. So, but an envious person, you can't tame. He's just out of control. Sometimes, that guy's a snake. He cheated me. He's a snake, whatever. So we want to avoid them. Why? Because there's no real benefit from associating with people, envious people, materialistically envious people. There's no benefit. So that's why we want to avoid them. Not only do they have no benefit they could give no benefit to us, spiritually, but we also can't give benefit to them. We can't benefit them because they're not willing to accept it, because they're envious, they're malicious, they're not in the proper frame of mind or right mindset to accept. Therefore, they're not innocent. That's the difference. The innocent people, or whatever, ignorant or innocent people, they could accept, or at least they have a better chance of accepting. So that's why we should avoid the envious, and then make friends with the devotees, show our love or service to Krishna, like that. And so that's the middle stage. Srila Prabhupada says that's the second stage of devotional perfection. And the lowest stage of devotional perfection, or the lowest stage of a devotee, is just to see the deity in the temple, which here they're deities here. These are all murtis, or forms of Krishna on the altar, different forms of Krishna. And one of the lowest stages, they just see those forms of Krishna, that's all. They serve with great love and devotion, hopefully. But they cannot see how everybody else is connected, like how everybody's actually spiritually connected together. They can't see that. And therefore they're just extremely attached to the rules and regulations, and they don't know how to deal with people in a beneficial way. So that's the lowest stage. So the idea is that we want to gradually elevate ourselves beyond the lower stages and the middle stage, and we want to go to the highest stage, in which we see Krishna in everything. In other words, we cannot forget Krishna. There's no point within our life, within our day, within our existence where we could forget Krishna, because Krishna is everywhere. And it says that Krishna, he's even in the atoms. Means it's like everywhere. Or, Krishna, he says, I'm the light of the sun, I'm the ability in man, I'm the taste of water, I'm of fragrant things, right? I'm the fragrance of the earth, of purifiers, I'm the wind. So, where's Krishna's everywhere. Where is Krishna not present? He's everywhere. So the idea is that we want to see that. It says that, a devotee who's reached that platform, it says that they see Krishna everywhere in moving and non-moving things. So that covers everything, because you got moving things, or people or whatever species, and you got non-moving things like trees or whatever. So they see Krishna everywhere. So that's a very high platform, but we're supposed to practice that on a daily basis. Try to remember Krishna. And the most, you could say, easy way, and the most recommended, and practically speaking, the way to success in being Krishna conscious in this day and age, we say modern age or postmodern age. So why do they say postmodern age, anyways?
It's even more advanced than modern.
Oh yeah.
I forget what characterizes each age, but
Oh, okay. Now it's postmodern, for whatever reason.
I'll let you know at the end.
Okay. So in the postmodern days is to chant Hare Krishna. Very simple, 3 words, can't forget them. Hare, Krishna, and Rama. Very difficult to forget. They're just 3 words. There was a case where there's a devotee, Tirthamaj told me, she stayed in the temple for, months or years, or at least a good amount of time. And she chanted every day. Japa, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, every day, for 2 hours at least. And then he met her, she left the temple and kind of stopped practicing. And he met her somewhere, just happened to meet her, and she said, oh yeah, I used to live in the temple, this and that. And she said, oh, what's the mantra again? How do you say it? She just forgot it. She said, oh, Hare, and Rama.
Scary.
It's a little weird, scary, yeah. So, usually you don't forget. Sometimes I give talks, whatever, they call us in sometimes to the different community colleges and give a talk. And sometimes you hear what they say afterwards about the talk. They give a summary of what they thought of it and everything. So they said, oh yeah, they came in and they chanted, and I just couldn't get that out of my mind. It was just the whole way home I was driving, I just hearing the Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yeah, that's good. So the way of success is chanting. And Srila Prabhupada, when he was in San Francisco, he said that there was one young man, probably on LSD or mushrooms or whatever he was taking, acid, LSD, acid, same. And he was complaining to Srila Prabhupada, to our spiritual teacher. He was complaining. He was saying, oh, Swamiji, my mind, it's just driving me crazy. I can't control my mind. It's causing so many problems. Telling me to do this, telling me to do that. There's so many things, my mind. Sometimes people have a hard time with their minds. They do all types of stupid stuff. So my mind, he kept on saying it, and then Prabhu said, well, you have to chant. So you have to chant. And then eventually Prabhupada, he kept on saying, he said, this is my only, recommendation. This is my only prescription. Or this is my only formula to chant. So just take it, So that's the idea. That's the process to chant. That's the way of success, spiritual success in this age. So whether we like that or not, because some devotees, they like it more than others. They like chanting japa, on their beads more than others. Some devotees like kirtan, means like we were just chanting with drums and cymbals and stuff. They like that more than other devotees. So whether people like it or not, devotees, means followers of Krishna, they should learn to like it. Because that's the process. I mean, so I don't like the process. I don't like the spiritual process. Oh, well, you're going to have some problems then. Because if you don't like the process, then how are you going to be successful? Right? You'd say, oh, well, I don't like going to school, and I'm trying to be a doctor, but I don't like going to school, so I'm just going to space out at school and, be in the back playing some video game or whatever. Then you're not going to be successful in being a doctor, practically, because you don't like the process. At least you have to fake it like you like it, at least materially speaking. You're trying to be a doctor, whatever, put some energy into it so you can reach the goal. So, interesting, I heard recently some student was telling me in relation to liking the process and being successful, and we're talking about reaching higher levels of Krishna consciousness here. Prabhupada's talking about the different levels. Really, love for God or love for Krishna or spiritual perfection, it cannot be forced. It's a voluntary thing. We all have independence. It has to be accepted by each individual. Sometimes people try to force it. Parents, they try to force their young children, which there's also another weird idea people have. I think it's weird. It's like, oh, well, we're not going to bring our child to church or the temple or the mosque or anything. We're going to let him or let her decide for themselves. When they get old enough. It's like, okay, fine, but you feed your kid a certain type of food. Why don't you let them pick the food? You dress your kids a certain way. Why don't you let them pick their clothes? You tell them to, you bring them to the dentist. Why don't you let them make up their minds whether they want to go to the dentist or not? You let them go to school, right? Why don't you force them to go to school? Why don't you let them? So everything, practically speaking, they're completely molding their children in a certain way. But when it comes to spirituality, let them figure it out when they're, in their teenage years or whatever. Anyways. So yeah, but it's not exactly forcing somebody when they're children to do that. I mean, there may be some people force, but specifically I'm talking about when a child becomes a certain age, when they start developing more discrimination and more personal desires, and they start becoming more like an adult. Like at that point, you can't force them. Oh, you should go to church. You should go to the temple. You should go to the mosque, and so on. They're their own person. You've done what you've done. You've tried to help them, and then at one point, you just have to say, okay, you're on your own, and hopefully you do something good with your life. Don't be like urine. There's a reason. I don't know if anybody's following that besides him, but don't be like urine, Dharmaraj, okay? What it is that Chanakya Pandit, it's like in India, it's like the Benjamin Franklin of India, he has all these quotes, So Chanakya Pandit, one Indian fellow, he has these quotes. He says that a son who doesn't engage in spiritual life and doesn't do something good with their life, they're considered to be no better than urine. So Dharmaraj's father, who is a devotee, he's a Hare Krishna, so he tells his son, "Hey son, don't be like urine." Anyways, that's how I was saying that. So yeah, but there's a certain point where you just have to let people, be themselves, and hopefully they do something good. So anyways, recently, a student was telling me that there's this college. It's a really nice college, actually, right on the ocean. It's like, I mean, who has a college on the ocean? It's a Nazarene college in Point Loma. I mean, I went there. I was just driving through there. It's just like right on the ocean. It's amazing. Students live there and probably think they're in paradise. But there's like 2,000, 3,000 students, not that many, but it's apparently a good school to become like a nurse or, yeah. So one student was telling me that they have to go to church, because they have a church there on campus, I believe every day for like an hour and a half. Or maybe an hour. Or I think it's at least 3 times a week they have to go. Yeah, 3 times a week they have to go to church and sit there for an hour and a half. So, and they bring different speakers in, and some are kind of like over the top and very energetic, and some are kind of more mellow, and you know, they're talking about different points. They bring musicians in, and they do all types of stuff trying to attract the students. So the student was telling me that, but if people don't, if there's this, it said that if you miss the first 3 times, you have to pay like $8 if you miss the first 3 times. And then after that, if you miss anyone's after, you have to pay $20. So ultimately, what happens if you miss a certain amount of times, ultimately adds up to about $400 you're paying if you miss. So she was saying, "Oh, I don't agree with it. This and that. It's kind of forcing, you know." And in many ways, I could sympathize with what she's saying, because you know, if you don't go, you have to pay. But the thing I thought was interesting about it is that although some of them don't want to go, even though they may be Christians and followers of Jesus, but they're just busy with school or whatever, they just don't want to go for whatever reasons, they're forced to go. But what I really thought was interesting is that she said that there's a bunch of them there, and she said they go to the back row and they're just like, you know, doing homework back there, while the guy's there, you know, giving the talk and singing. They're just back there doing homework. I said, "Oh, really?" She said, "Yeah." And I said, "What, like a few of them? Like what, like 5, 10, just kind of back there?" She said, "No, there's like 100 back there, you know, like doing their homework." And I was thinking to myself, "Oh man, that's terrible," because I mean, at least speaking for myself, you know, if I'm giving a talk and there's like 100 people in the audience in the back, and they're just like, could care less what I'm saying practically, just doing their homework, I would just tell them, just go to your rooms, you know, like get out of here, like, because it's not very inspiring. So, yeah, ultimately, we can't really force anyone, or we can't really force ourselves. We have to voluntarily make up our minds and accept it, and to want to advance, and like chanting, and to get to the point of liking chanting more and more and more and more, and chanting and japa and kirtan. And this is what a devotee does with their life. There's different devotees, but Srila Prabhupada stressed over and over and over and over again so many times that he wanted people to become Krishna conscious. He wanted them to become devotees. And therefore Prabhupada said the West, he said the West is good for 2 things. He says it's good for sense gratification, you know, enjoying material life, and he said it's good for spreading Krishna consciousness, or propagating Krishna consciousness. So yeah, it is important that devotees have that in their minds, that somehow or other to try to give people Krishna, and that's what Lord Chaitanya says. He says, Yadidekataka Krishna Pradesh, wherever you go, whoever you meet, tell them about Krishna. And this way become a guru, a teacher, and liberate the land. So he wants people to know about Krishna. And this is how many devotees spend their lives telling them people about Krishna. So it's a very important point. And a devotee, I mean, it's quite amazing. It says that the devotee, he sees or she sees everyone equally. So they see a dog eater, a cow, a Brahmin or learned person, an elephant, all with equal vision. It means they see the soul, the super soul. It means that everybody has potential to become, or everybody is Krishna conscious, they're just forgot. And therefore the devotees they try to inspire people, remind them about Krishna. About Krishna. And therefore that is their mercy, therefore they're merciful. They're trying to assist people or encourage people, help people. And so devotees, they're friends to everyone because they have everybody's, they're the well-wisher of everybody. They don't wish anybody ill. They don't wish anybody any harm. And they're never enemy to anyone, and they're peaceful. And they're peaceful because they're connected with the Supreme Peaceful, Krishna. So they're peaceful. And so on. So these are some of the qualities that we're advised to have, or strive for, to be peaceful, to be friend of everyone by introducing them to Krishna, wishing them well, and tolerant and merciful. And we're able to do that, and we're able to conquer all the qualities that are not needed within us by taking to the process of chanting, which is the way of success in this postmodern age of Kali. All right, so does anyone have any questions or comments?
Postmodern. I looked it up.
All right.
So there's a lot to it, but what I gleaned from my little study of Wikipedia is that postmodernism is the thing that really jumped out at me. It's characterized by relativism, moral relativism. What is even today we have what are the facts? What's the truth? Well, whatever you want is your truth. So really, it's diametrically opposed to what we're into. In other words, the assumption behind all of it: there's no God, there's no ultimate enunciator of dharma, of religion. There's no
ultimate truth.
Yeah, there's no absolute standard of what is good and what is bad. So of course that means that you can basically do what you want. So that's postmodernism. It's characterized by a lot of this relativism stuff.
They say there's no great truth, but that's their great truth. So they're just contradicting themselves.
There's no great truth,
Yeah,
but they're saying, but by them saying there's no great truth, that practically speaking, that's their great truth, because they're contradicting themselves, right? Yeah. Do you think you can pass that mic, please?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You need to turn it on. It's just not easy.
Hello.
Hello.
Isn't it ignorant to be envious?
Yes, it is ignorant to be envious. There's different, like the general definition of enviousness is that if somebody has something that you don't have, whether it's whatever, like a quality, or whether it's possessions or whatever, something that you don't have, then you're envious of them. Oh, that guy has that and I want that and I don't have that, and I'm going to try to take him down. I'm going to get on social media and just, I'm going to hit, I don't know if that's a saying, cut the guy by the legs, or is that a saying? I don't know, maybe I just made that up.
Cut him off at the knees.
Yeah, I'm just going to cut him off at the knees, just, I'm going to hammer him, So I'm going to slam him, whatever. It's, teach this guy a lesson. So you're trying to cut him down, right? Chisel at his at his reputation, or her reputation, which for a lot of people it's important. You know, reputation is important, actually. In many ways, it is. So that's the general definition of envy. But Srila Prabhupada, he coined, or maybe even in the traditional, the dictionary, there's another meaning which means malicious, right? Or just...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, I'm sorry, you're in my wheelhouse now. So the word envy...
Yeah, maybe you could explain that other aspect of it.
Because there's a bunch of words like that. Prabhu uses his language. So, you read Krishna book, and I think it's in Krishna book where he says, one should not be envious even of an ant. Now, most people will scratch their head, well, what has an ant got that I want? I'm not going to be envious of an ant. But there was in the Oxford English Dictionary, the English could probably learn English from, 19,000 or 1910 or something, So from in India, and it was Scottish Churches College, it was all of the English teachers. So they're teaching them English, not American English. There's a difference. So in America, envy more or less means jealousy. Someone has something you want, and you're envious of them, whatever. You tear them down. But the additional meaning, that meaning is there. But in addition to that, there is the meaning that envy simply means malice. If you're envious of someone, just bearing malice toward them. They don't have anything you want, but they did something you don't like. That's an expanded meaning of envious. So in Prabhupada's vocabulary, when he says don't be envious, it can have both meanings or one of those two meanings. You have to see the context. And oftentimes it's the second one, don't bear malice to anyone.
So that's it. But if we're supposed to show mercy to people that are ignorant, then...
Well, ignorant just means they're ignorant about the facts or the spiritual knowledge of life, but they're innocent in the sense that they're not envious, like he was.
Between like agnostic and atheist.
Yeah.
Agnostic means I just don't know.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But if you're atheist, it means you're actively campaigning against religion. You think you know that there's no God and that God, that religion is like the worst thing in the world, and so you try to write books and like that.
Yeah.
And the atheist. So but most people are agnostic. They'll admit, well, I don't know for sure. I mean, I go to church just in case. There may be a God, but I'm not really sure there is a God.
Right.
Just in case.
So those people are open to, good instruction.
Yeah, like the atheists, they set up their booths, different places.
Oh yeah, SDSU.
SDSU here or there, and they have their books and their pamphlets and their flyers and all that type of stuff. So yeah, they're just, they're envious and they're just, they're not really going to accept it. But there's agnostic people, they just like Jewish people say, they just don't know.
Yeah, they're innocent. As opposed to
yeah. One devotee, you have to know him, Bhakti Kevin, but he's kind of a little bit of a fiery person and this and that, interesting person. But he says that, these atheists, they say there's no morality, there's this, that. You could just do it. So maybe I should just go down there and teach them a lesson, give them a fist or two. Of course, he's just joking. He's not going to do it. But the point is, they don't. A lot of people, they claim all these philosophies, but then once you try to test them on it, then they fall apart. They actually don't. In real life, don't follow it really. It's like they say, everything belongs to everyone, and whatever. We're all one, absolutely. Okay, fine, but you say, okay, then if everything belongs to everyone, then just, hand me over your wallet, And people have been tested on that, and because they were stubborn, they had to hand over their wallet, Okay, fine, but so it is. So, all right. So now there'll be breakfast. So if everybody likes, they could go on the patio and have breakfast.
But it's a postmodern breakfast. If you don't believe it's there, then
it's a postmodern breakfast. Post-feast. No, okay. All right. Come to Srimad Bhagavatam.